at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is about to begin.
2, 10, 2!
At any time during the ceremony, please feel free to come forward and take pictures. Please stand for the invocation given by Private Ewell and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem.
Let us pray. Dear God, thank you for answering the other day. I just ask you to watch over us and guide us as we carry on to military grace. Amen. Left face. Face. Parade, rest!
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Command Sergeant Major Parsons, Command Sergeant Major Showmaker, Captain DeGracia, First Sergeant Brunhofer, distinguished guests, friends, and relatives, welcome to the graduation ceremony for 13 Fox Classes 4-1 and 4-2-17 from Bravo Battery, 1st Battalion, 78th Field Artillery, United States Army. Today marks the successful completion of their demanding coursework. This is their day to be a part of a fully trained and ready Army. Soldiers, today you join the ranks of the United States Army Field Artillery, a proud warrior race whose history began with a few simple cannons and has evolved into a complex system of short and long-range missiles and howitzers with unlimited all-weather capabilities. You are here because you have successfully completed the challenging training necessary to become a trained fully qualified soldier in the most lethal army in the world, following in the footsteps of those before you, to include your instructors, but also soldiers like Sergeant First Class Jared C. Monty, whose heroism and gallantry in Operation Enduring Freedom as a forward observer earned him this nation's highest award, the Medal of Honor, for selflessly sacrificing himself while attempting to save the lives of his men. The non-commissioned officer standing in front of the graduating platoon is the Advanced Individual Training Platoon Sergeant. The AIT Platoon Sergeant for Classes 4-1 and 4-2-17 is Sergeant First Class Sean Crandall. Ladies and gentlemen, the guest speaker for today's graduation is Sergeant First Class Wesley Weaver, Platoon Sergeant 1st Battalion 78th Field Artillery.
Command Sergeant Major Parsons, Command Sergeant Major Showmaker, Captain DeGracia, First Sergeant Brunheber, distinguished guests, family, friends, and especially you, soldiers in formation. Good morning and thank you for your attendance at today's graduation. To the soldiers, I'll make you a deal. I promise to keep this short. As I know you are eager to graduate and to see your loved ones. I know you have practiced for the ceremony for at least 2 days now. I know you have probably sang the Army song at least 1 billion times. Standing there now is probably hot and miserable, and your palms are probably getting really sweaty in those jackets. But if you give me just a few minutes of your attention now, I am confident that I'm qualified to give you good Fister advice. It has been a long 18.5 weeks, but now you can officially be called a soldier in the United States Army. Over those 18 weeks, you didn't give up, even though at times it would have been easy to just say, I quit. As of today, you are no longer a trainee. You are a soldier. You should feel a sense of pride knowing that the 18 weeks you have endured are at an end. And you will begin your career as a Fister, which leads me to my next point. What is a Fister? A Fister is the greatest killer on the battlefield, one that is flexible, dependable, a technical expert, and above all, physically fit. Without a Fister, the king of battle cannot survive. Ask anyone on the battlefield who their savior is. They will tell you it was a Fister. As a Fister, you help determine the outcome of war. You have the power to call upon the demons of war, the mortars, MRS, naval gunfire, attack aviation, and the fast movers. Those are your tools, your instruments of death. Your greatest tool, however, is your radio. For with it, you bring death and destruction to bear on the enemy. As you do your job, you help write history of wars, past and those yet to come. I will finish with some parting words of wisdom. When a new soldier reports to my unit, the first thing I talk to them about is decision making. I tell them that whether you intend to make it a career in the Army or just serve 3, 4, or 5 years, it is incumbent upon you to shape what it will look like. You can make it a hard 3 or 4 years, or you can do your job to the fullest. The decision is yours. Learn as much as you can from the experience and knowledge of your NCOs, senior NCOs, and officers above you. Always strive for excellence. If you didn't max your push-ups, sit-ups, and run the last APFT, try harder next time. If you didn't get all first-time goes on your last FIST cert, you need to hit the books and study. Lastly, whether you leave the Army after your first enlistment or become the next Sergeant Major of the Army, never forget that you are a Fister, the greatest killer on the battlefield. Cornerstone, teamwork, eyes of death.
Attention! Awardees, post!
The official party for today's ceremony is Sergeant First Class Wesley Weaver. The Distinguished Honor Graduate Award is presented for overall academic excellence and character development throughout the training cycle. The Master Shooter Award is presented to the student with the highest score on the 2 graded live fire events. The Distinguished Honor Graduate for 13 Fox Class 4-2 is Private Joshua Ewald with a class average of 99%. Private Ewald is also the class master shooter. The Distinguished Honor Graduate for 13 Fox Class 4-1 is Private PFC Quentin Petterick with a class average of 99.5%. Specialist Zachary Morgan is the class master shooter. The undergraduate for class 4-1 and 4-2 is Private Wesley Romero. Ladies and gentlemen, the distinguished graduates. The soldiers are graduating 13 Fox classes 4-1 and 4-2-17 will now pin on the Field Artillery branch insignia, thus signifying that the Department of the Army and Field Artillery Commander has certified that the soldiers are branch qualified and are true artillery soldiers. The cross cannon insignia has been in use since 1834 and represents 2 cross Napoleon cannons from 1812. The insignia was modified in 1901, 1907, 1957, and 1967, which is in current use today. It represents the field artillery as the king of battle. Private Ewell will now lead the class in reciting the Soldier's Creed. All soldiers please stand and remain standing for the Army song.
The Soldier's Creed.
I'm an American soldier. I'm a warrior member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am professional. I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemy's United States of America in close combat. I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier!
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the Army song.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First in fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. Then it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the kids, loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Private Ewell, take charge.
Victory starts here, Sergeant.
This will defend.
Parade, rest.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the graduation ceremony. The cadre and soldiers of 1st Battalion 78 Field Artillery, thank you for your attendance. Please come forward and congratulate the graduates.
Should I start the stream? Or just keep it over here until they leave? It's actually too late. Is it what?